So hello everyone, can you all hear me? Wonderful. A very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is an episode on Coffee and Childhoods. Coffee and Childhoods is a platform which encourages lively conversations about providing today's generation with the best childhood possible. A discussion where the point of view of various mothers, fathers, and professionals are noted and put out to the world. And Kids OK Please is a single point platform for you to give marvelous childhood to your children. They're set to offer the best experiences for your children, a tested and verified list of trusted and credible child-friendly content and the best deals on child-centered brand and engagement, all at the tip of your finger. They consistently create enriching content that you and your children can benefit from. Please look up their site for a collection of freebies. We have 5 parents on our panel today who are going to be talking about our topic for the day: online learning, opportunities, and obstacles. So welcome everybody. Let me introduce myself. I'm Amrita Rajpal. I've been teaching for 22 years and I've been learning my whole life. And I'm the founder of EduLearnPro, a company that specializes in creating content and curriculum and setting up preschools. So we conduct teacher development programs and help schools with their expansion plans. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We've set up more than 250 preschools so far. I'm also the co-founder of the ABCD show and the territory head of the Early Childhood Association in Mumbai. And I'm honored to be the moderator for this session. I'd like to introduce our panelists right now. We have Nishta Tiwari. Nishta Tiwari is Program Director for Harvard Business Publishing. And is it audible? I can hear some noises. Perfect. All right. Nishta has led numerous leadership projects in India, China, Middle East, and Europe. She's also been in the space of virtual learning with leaders across the globe with Harvard Business School. So welcome, Nishta.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here with all of you.
Wonderful. We have Shivani Tripathi. Shivani Tripathi is the manager for the National Tourism Board. She's a working mother of a 5-year-old and she stays in Mumbai. As her husband serves in the Indian Armed Forces, her child mostly has one parent with him most of the time. And as a working mother, she finds it a little challenging to manage work, home, life, almost all alone. But then she believes that all good things in life have a cost to it. Yes. So welcome, Shivani. So nice to have you here.
Same here, pleasure on mine. Thank you for the introduction and letting everyone know about me. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. We have Dr. Beena Shah and we have Mr. Devang Shah. So Dr. Beena loves spreading and creating smiles. Literally, as she's a dentist by profession. And she's been practicing dentistry for more than a decade now. Beenal is a proud mother to a 2-year-old princess. And as a working mother, she has always tried to maintain the balance between her personal and her professional life. She loves to explore and learn new means and ways to engage her little one for her emotional and intellectual development. Devang Shah. Welcome, Beenal.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Devang Shah is an engineer and an MBA by qualification and a corporate banker by profession. And he has experience of over 10 years. And currently he's working with JP Morgan as a vice president and credit approver. He is a hands-on father and shoulders equal responsibility for his princess's upbringing. At the same time, he's her partner in crime for all her mischief. Welcome, Mr. Devang.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction.
And we have Mr. Gautam Udani. Mr. Gautam Udani is the Managing Director of Infini Systems Private Limited. He is a tech entrepreneur with a 13-year journey in delivering successful tech solutions to top education companies for their e-learning business. Fintechs to modernize the way banks and NBFCs work in India and other developing countries. Also, e-commerce companies to modernize the way digital business happens. So, welcome, Mr. Udani.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the introduction.
I can't see your video. Is it on?
Yeah, my video is on.
Okay. All right. I guess. Okay, so welcome everybody now. And let me tell you the format. So I'm going to be asking a question to each of the panelists, just so that we get to know a little bit about your thoughts, and then we have one common question for everyone to answer. So you can start answering your answer with telling us the name of your child or children if you have more than one, and also what school they go to, what is their age. And we're going to start our questions with Nishta Tiwari. So Nishta, you can start with telling us how many children you have, where do they study, how old they are. But the real question is, you know, for the last 4 months, we've been in lockdown. So since March, we've all been at home. And I want to know what your experience has been having a child around with you 24/7 for 4 months.
Yes. So I'm a mother to a 5-year-old son. He goes to Sarah International Preschool, a lovely school which is chaired by Tasneem Messiwala. And yes, these times have been very interesting. And, you know, there is usually a change curve that happens, and when a huge change comes in our lives, and I feel all of us are in sort of a petri dish, you know, which is like an experiment going on all of us. We are also realizing what exactly is happening inside the petri dish and trying to guess outside the petri dish. But I think when any change happens, there is a change curve, and the curve that has happened with me has been something which happens to most of us. I think the first stage of when this hit us or was just about to hit us was completely denial. Like, this isn't happening to me, this will not happen to India, this will not happen to Mumbai. So I think we were in that phase of denial. And then came complete rejection. This can't be happening. You know, what are you saying? Our kids are not going to go to school. How does that even work? What impact does that have on our child's lives, child's education, etc.? So I think personally, I was in the rejection phase for quite a long time, that this can't be happening. But like any big change, then you start exploring, okay, this is here to stay. This isn't going. So what do we do? How do we start adjusting to the new normal? And I think the exploration stage is the most beautiful stage. And it is there that, you know, me and my child, for example, we formed routines. And I rise in routines. So we started forming routines, we started forming new ways of making sure our days are productive and fruitful and fun, and mostly, I think, not impacting one of us from an emotional perspective. And I think now...
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, now I can hear you. Yes.
And with now virtual learning started, it's streamlined. And I think from the phase, we have completely moved on to the acceptance stage, which is, you know, we can make this work. And that's how I have reacted. So right from rejection, you know, denial to rejection, to exploration, and then going on acceptance.
It's been a different kind of journey I can see for you. Yes.
And I think the curve we've reached, or I have reached, is the one where I so in awe of the kids with virtual learning. childhood. I feel that they are so resilient. They're adjusting to it so well. Not only school, even my child is doing hobbies. For example, right now he's even learning classical Indian music virtually. And I just feel the possibilities are so many now. So I think that's how it's been for us.
So wonderful. You're sort of exploring and you're sort of discovering your child newly, from what I can see. And the whole initial stage has been that of, resistance. But I can see how beautifully you sort of molded yourself into the flow with your child. And that has been so lovely, Nishda. So it's sort of getting to know your family better and being part of a different kind of journey which you have not been there before, right?
Yeah, I think it's about getting to know the family better. I spend a lot of time with my son, so I don't feel that I have more time because that's always I do have the privilege of spending a lot of time with him even as a working mother. But I think it's more than about spending time and discovering each other. It's about how do we adjust to this? How do we ensure that the things that we were doing before the pre-COVID, how do we still continue deriving benefits, and how do we really keep moving on? I think our energies have been really concentrated there.
Yeah, so that's nice. It's actually looking at a way forward. Wonderful, really nice. So Shivani, our next question is for you. Again, you can start with telling us, how many children you have, where do they study, how old they are, so that we all are on the same platform. But my question is, we've started school since March, and I think virtual engagements have started only since June. And so we've had that whole 2-month, whole big long session about how did you manage in those 2 months to teach your child, and what has that experience been for you?
Yes, so my child is a 5-year-old boy. His name is Satvik. Even he goes to Sarah International, just like Nishta's son. He's in KG2. So that way, I think I should say that initially he was in a different school. So I'll say that, yeah, I'm fortunate enough that I made him join Sarah International because experience has been very good. So now I'll begin with the overall concept of, child not going to school and studying via WhatsApp or via video, that is Zoom classes. So parenting is a tough task, okay, but what like me and my husband, what we found is that tutoring is even a tougher challenge. Okay, and when the COVID disaster happened, we were not only the parent to our child, not only the friend, but even a tutor and guide with so many things. So, there were a lot of challenges which we still face, is like grasping a child's attention, educating him or her, whoever has daughters, thereafter, and then entertaining them, managing household chores, and then the novel concept of work from home, which I think for many it can be a blessing in disguise, but for few it can be a little challenging thing. So all of them put together on the same table, gosh, it was a tough nut to crack. Well, that's what I can say. Now coming to that initially the classes, that is all the tasks, all the engagement between the child, parents, and the school, which was happening. It was happening through WhatsApp. So of course, we were still in a better place when I compared myself or my child with other children who are going into the school. We were getting the videos from the teacher, sheets from the teacher, but all the homework was happening on the system, that is on the paper documents. And then child was not getting to interact with anyone except his or her parents. I think that was happening everywhere because we were under complete lockdown. So that was the biggest challenge because they were going to school and then suddenly they are not meeting with anyone. Their life is just between 2 or 3 people. In my case, it was just my child and me. So it was a little challenging. They wanted to go to school, they were bored. And coming to the way of you teach them or the teachers teach them, I would like to tell you that we all know that the way teachers communicate is a way different than the way parents do. Teachers maintain the ideal balance of affection and sternness, I can say. If we tell a child to do something, we might have to repeat it 10, 12, or even 20 times. But the teacher tells it once. I see it happening like during online classes. Teacher has to say it just once and they're fine. Okay, we'll do it. So as a parent, finding that balance was difficult initially. But with right course corrections, we were able to sail through. I can say, at least I think we have been able to sail through it. And the plus point is that, yeah, now teachers are interacting regularly. Then we observe that, okay, how they communicate, how they teach. And we try to follow the same, at least when we are educating a child, when we are making them do their homework. So, yeah, that is the plus point. But yeah, I'm glad we have come up with the concept of online education and not just doing the WhatsApp classes, because WhatsApp classes was a challenge without child having anyone to interact with. No one to talk
sorry,
to.
I'm interrupting, but did you say for 2 months that April and May you had WhatsApp classes?
For March and a few days in the April. Yes, we had
WhatsApp classes. Okay, I mean,
yes,
that is really nice because not many schools would have done those WhatsApp classes.
No,
Initially, everyone was in a stage that this pandemic is going to pass on in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And most schools were closed at that time. So that is also creditable that your school has actually done those WhatsApp classes with you.
In fact, there wasn't any gap, not even a week's gap. We had started getting homework or tasks or videos for him. School was continuously sending things to keep the child engaged. So that is the plus part. The negative part was that me as a mother, I didn't know how to make him do that. So because I've never been much into my child's studies except the basic needs and requirements. So that was a challenge. But yeah, I think school did a great bit in that.
Wonderful. So wonderful. I can see that, parents have a different set of duties. You're also working and you have your house, responsibilities. You also have now another responsibility of teaching your child. And that experience is quite grappling. And for you were lucky that you had a lot of support from your school. But I'm sure if there would have been many schools which have not taken this, had this time over there to give these activities. So, but really it is creditable even as parents, to handle so much, because this is not something you're trained for and a teacher is trained for. But very nice. I can see that what parents are basically superhuman. So, all right, great, wonderful. And now the next question is to Mr. Gautam Udani. So, Mr. Udani, what do you really miss about school? And how do you work with the timings of your child? Please tell us also about your child a little bit. Since you're a working parent, I'm sure there's a lot to juggle. And how has this journey been for you?
So I have a 3-year-old boy. His name is Samar and we are from Bombay. He goes to the Little Oak School led by Ritu Joshi ma'am. And I think everyone who spoke before me have really beautifully narrated the journey of change that we all have gone through, over the past 4 months. Everything around us has, but then by natures, humans are strong and they're smart to adapt and learn, and that's the cycle we have all gone through. I'm a great believer. Coming to your question about what do I miss about the school, so I'm a great believer in hybrid mode of education.
Okay.
Online sessions are going well. There is obviously no substitute to the physical education. All the technology and education should all be about aiding the teachers in classroom and not substituting them. Nothing can substitute schools. So to answer your question about what we miss about the school in one word, it's everything. My son misses his friends. He misses all the teachers. He misses the entire classroom environment. The school has done amazingly well to take the online classes, but then there's no substitute. So he quite literally misses everything about the school. About the timings, as a working parent, both me and my wife work, But in the current scenario, it's not very difficult to manage the timings, as it takes only a couple of minutes for us to get him settled with the Zoom sessions. And besides that, whatever my son learns in the school every day, he spends 1-2 hours reading things, reading things on his own and speaking to his grandmother about what he learned in the school today.
Okay. That
So
is wonderful.
he spends a lot of time doing such things. And, also I've received a wonderful kit and worksheets from our school. The first day of the school, we actually collected it from the school, and my son spends a lot of time doing those worksheets and things from the kit. So it's been brilliant, and very honestly, it's not been very challenging managing him while we are also working from home.
Wonderful. So that you've sort of adapted now. I can see that there has been a sort of standpoint where you have adjusted to the routine and, got your routine also in order to sort of incorporate whatever new is coming in. So wonderful. So this has been really a nice sort of transition, has not been so difficult, and you're able to take in this quite easily.
Pretty easily, yeah. And again, all credits to the school for doing things which keep the kids busy, not just through the session, but even after the session, they dwell over what they did in the school for a few hours, and that kills a lot of time for them, besides the learning, which obviously is the biggest takeaway.
Wonderful. Absolutely, really nice. It's nice to know that all the parents are on the same plane. As parents, if we show this kind of resilience, I think the children just take it from the parent. It's a great vibe to pass on to the children, that there is something happening, but we are all able to cope and we're all able to adapt. And this is so wonderful that everybody has taken it so beautifully, and I'm sure everyone's saying nice things about the school also. So I guess the home school partnerships are going very strong from what I can see over here.
Definitely.
Wonderful. So our next question is for Dr. Beenal and Mr. Devang. So we've sort of thoughtfully sent this message out to the doctor. And of course, Mr. Devang will also answer with his experience of being a parent. So what do you think is really important for a child to learn at this stage?
Thank you, ma'am, for such a kind words. As you said, I am no expert in this, but I'll just share my experience. I'm a first-time mother to a princess called Nishika. She's 2.5-year-old. She goes to Little Oaks preschool led by Mrs. Ritu Joshi. So when Nishika was born, we had our friends, families, little researchers giving us all the ideas of how to bring her up, how things will happen. But then COVID happened and nobody had any idea of what to do. But as you say, the first 5 years of a child's life is very important because that is the foundation for the future. So basically, in spite of COVID, we tried at least the 4 major things that she needs to learn at this stages. First being the physical skills, which mainly involves the gross motor skills, which is the large movements. So, and fine motor, which includes the finer movements. So we try and improve, we help her jump, move around, make her play, throw balls with her, and try and engage as much as possible. Then in fine motor, we try to make her draw, write, play with the dough, and that is how we try and develop that skill for her. Of course, if it was in the school time, I'm sure Mrs. Ritu Joshi would have taken care of all these things about the fine motor skills. But I think right now we are doing that. And with her guidance, definitely. Then I think a very important skill that happens in this stage is a language skills where they learn to communicate. So we try and talk to her, the grandparents talk to her, that is how they develop the vocabulary. She started speaking in the big sentences. Then
so here just I would want to add, like, that development actually has happened in last 3-4 months during this lockdown. So earlier it was like in school, like, because she is just 2.5 right now. So when it was last year during somewhere around February, March, she had started picking some words. And over last 3-4 months, because we are at home and we understand, because she is also curious every time why this house arrest, and she comes to us with different questions. So we ensure that we answer to each and every question of hers. And that is how our conversation started. And that has actually has acted like a boon for us, because we could see now she making and big statements and sentences while speaking to us.
Wonderful. So great. So actually, this question was directed to the doctors, to the doctor and to the parent with the doctor. Also, because for everyone else to sort of understand, we just feel that, children need to learn colors or numbers or letters, or, they can learn to talk and they're learning to jump. But there's a whole range of development which is happening at this age. The brain is everyone able to hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we are.
Yes. All right. So basically 90% of the brain has developed by the time the child is 5 years old. And the child has got 1 million neurons in his brain. So neurons are the brain cells. I'm not talking 1 million. I'm talking a million, And all these neurons over there are so eager for stimulation to learn. They're all just waiting to learn. And we are not learning only language. We're not learning only physical, but we're also learning so many different things. A child is growing physically, growing mentally, growing socially, growing emotionally. And a child is sort of shaping her or his personality at this time. So it's imperative, that the child gets the right stimulus to grow and develop. So wonderful. I can say that you all are doing a wonderful job. And I also want to now get back to that one common question for everyone. And the common question is, how has your experience been with these virtual engagements done by your school? I want to know, a bit about the routine. Can you elaborate on the benefits, or even if there are no benefits and things which have not been too good? Because this is a platform where people have a voice to speak what is happening and what do they feel about it. So we've got 4 disparate, people out here, 4 disparate families giving their views on what is it for you. How have these virtual engagements been for you? So we start with Nishta.
Yeah. So I think we need to realize that even post-COVID, learning is going to take a U-turn in terms of the methods. Our kids are so much more smarter than even we are. For example, even apart from virtual learning, I have enrolled on some...
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. For example, apart from virtual learning in the school, for example, I have enrolled on some online education platforms which use principles of gamification, positive reinforcement, which helps the child learn things so much faster. So I think everybody is evolving, and our kids, particularly because this is the technology generation, they know how to operate an iPad and phone, everything. I think they're so much more quicker in picking these things up. But particularly coming to the virtual class being done by the school, I see 2 benefits. The first benefit is to the child, and the second benefit is to the parent. To the child, I think the number 1 benefit is that it has set a routine. He or she is able to meet their friends virtually, and like Shivani rightfully said, the teachers have a connection with them. They're able to communicate the way even a parent cannot communicate, and they are going through concepts that they are supposed to with the teachers, and they are very, very effective. For example, in the first day of the virtual class, I was left amazed. How are these kids so well disciplined? Literally, in the class, everybody raises their hands. I do a lot of virtual learning with adults, and believe you me, there is more chaos there than in these sessions. They raise their hands, they know how to mute themselves, they know how to unmute themselves, and they're all of 5. So I think that's amazing. it's a set of routine for them. So every day 11:30 we are going online. There is a pre-work to the class that they are supposed to do. There is a post-revision that they do with the parent. So I would say that the routine is really working well. The first half of the day gets taken care of very beautifully and in a very productive. The second benefit is to the parent. Now, I'm not an educator. While I have full intentions of doing the best with my child, but I am learning some learning methodologies from the children. I'll give you an example. If I have to teach what are odd numbers and even numbers, my method is going to be very left brain because that's how I am, and you can't change. This is how I think. So when I'm teaching my child, usually my methods are very left brained than right brained. But my child actually is a right brained child as of now. But when the teacher teaches, I can see, oh, what a wonderful and simpler way of teaching. Why didn't I think of that? So I think the second more important benefit is the parents are getting coached on how to be ad hoc educators. And I think that's fabulous because at the end of the day, apart from that 1 hour virtual learning that they do, the parents have to homeschool them. That 1 hour, while it is very effective, it is not sufficient. So we as parents will have to spend extra time, take those concepts which are being introduced into a deeper manner with our kids and practice what has been done. So I think it's the coaching to the parents which is extremely important, and I think whoever is doing virtual learning needs to recognize that aspect, that parents are not essentially educators, and if you're giving some inputs, the parents also need to learn those methodologies to ensure learning is sustained.
Absolutely. When you said that, there's a whole 1-year course that teachers do to become teachers.
Exactly.
But when you see a parent is just suddenly now a teacher.
Exactly.
And the parent has not been trained to know that these are the developmental milestones. This is what the child is capable of. This is the ability of the child. How do you map that and how do you match that?
Right.
Also, like you said, you are a particular way, and we're used to teaching from our own design of the kind of people we are.
Yes. Yes.
But it has been so wonderful that parents and teachers and the schools have found this partnership, whereby where the school is teaching the parent what to do, and the parent is also happy to learn.
Exactly.
So from what I get from you, this has been such a wonderful partnership between your school. You said Sarah, is it?
I think
Sarah.
Absolutely, it's Sarah International, and I think collaboration is key. And I think parents need to be empathetic what the teachers are going through because their task is not easy as well. And
teachers have not been trained otherwise, to use these virtual classes. We're used to concrete experiences and using concrete materials to teach. So suddenly this is a whole new world that they're also discovering.
So I think in our case, what's working very well is the parent-teacher collaboration, and I think that's what's creating success. Somebody is on mute.
Network issues, I think. Let's wait.
I think we have lost Amrita. She doesn't.
Yeah, right. Seems like.
She's connecting back.
Yes. I'm sorry. I think I just logged off. Oh, yeah. Correct.
Yes. So I think, Amrita, I was just signing off my comment saying that collaboration is key. The child is in the center, and we all need to collaborate to ensure that their well-being and learning is being taken care of.
So wonderful. So I was again telling you the same thing, that it's been beautiful the way you've narrated this and had that collaboration with your school. So it's been absolutely wonderful. Great. So now the question goes to Mr. Udani.
Yes, ma'am. So, I think Nishita has already spoken really well about how kids have adapted to online sessions better than what adults have. I do normally 7 to 8 video calls every day, but as she pointed out, that kids manage the video calls much better than us, quite literally. Most of my calls go haywire with people cross talking, but these kids have much more discipline in them, much more than what adults keep. Even with all the anxiety that they have normally while doing new things, I think they are conducting themselves pretty well. Also, as you mentioned, this is all about parent-teacher partnership, and I think Little Oaks again has done amazingly well to keep this as an all-inclusive partnership, wherein parents, teachers, and kids are all on the same page. So, about the online sessions of my son's school, it's been great. I mean, we are surprised with the kind of preparation that the school has done before starting the class. They have taken care of every damn aspect to ensure that it is a near normal experience for the kids. Because if they find the conditions to be alien, they'll get a little jittery and they might start becoming nervous about it. But that's not the case. The entire environment created by them in an online session is almost like a school classroom. So, this I guess is because the school has planned the online curriculum in a way that keeps my son excited. He's always eager to find out what's in store for him the next day. The teachers connect with him so well on the Zoom calls that he doesn't get distracted by anything happening around him for the session. Through the session, the people moving around him, he's glued onto the screen. He's concentrating on what the teacher is teaching. So it's been an amazing experience for us, wherein our son has benefited greatly from the sessions that have been conducted.
So actually, I want to know what is the routine of your school? What do they do with your child
So
also?
start off with a couple of prayers, then they have some activity for them, and then they wind up with a national song or something like that.
Okay, so your child is enjoying all those bits that they are doing.
Everything. If we try to get him away from the screen in this period, he'll ask us to move away. He wants to finish it end to end in the best possible way. That's how
Wonderful.
teachers have really hooked on to them very well on the screen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So this has been so nice. Actually, the parent is also, I can see how happy you are, Mr. Udani, that your child is enjoying. It isn't only the child which is happy, but I'm seeing a smile on your face and that you are so happy that your child is so happy. And there is some learning happening. There's an excitement happening.
Right.
One thing I'm bringing about over here is there's a lot of social and emotional development which needs to happen at this age. So a child being at home with parents, with family, maybe grandparents or whatever, is still in a very closeted and in a very small area. But getting to meet with the teacher, getting to see other peers on the screen, participating with them, I think that builds up a lot for the social and emotional connect that the child is getting. And as you're saying, he's even telling you all to go away because he's sort of understanding the relationship which is over there also and accepting that and respecting that at this point.
Correct.
So something is happening over there and you want to respect what is happening and participate in that. How wonderful. It's really getting your child socially and emotionally involved with other
And at
people.
the times where we are actually under isolation.
Yeah, all of us are. We are all in our houses with this and so beautiful. Correct. So Dr. Peenal and Mr. Devan, can we have the question addressed to you too?
Yes, ma'am.
How has it been for you, these online learnings, online engagements with the school?
To be honest, initially it wasn't that easy. Maybe because Nishika is very small still, she's just 2.5. She did start her formal schooling early. So she was going to the school, interacting with everyone, meeting everyone. So initially when teachers came on the screen, she wasn't happy. She's like, this is not how it is. I don't want this. I want to go to the school. I want to meet people. So it wasn't as simple and as straight for her. But eventually when she understood that they're the same teachers, they're going to teach you in the same way. Then she saw her other friends. Gradually, she started settling, she started sitting for the classes, and eventually started enjoying. But those initial days was difficult to make her sit through the class. Uh, as they see, she just wanted to keep changing it, not concentrate, because that was not her school. For her, school was something else. So of course, initially it was difficult. So
And also again, as like Mr. Gautam, our kid also goes to Little Oaks. So because this was a transition for her from preschool to nursery, and earlier when she left the school, there were different set of teachers, and for nursery it would be different set of teachers. So Little Oaks took care, like for initial couple of sessions, there were old teachers who came and inducted them to nursery, and then there were new set of teachers who came and started taking new sessions. So those were because of this transition, as well as both from preschool to nursery, and at the same time from physical to online. There was this change which kid had to grapple with. But slowly, yes, we are finding her. She is getting interested in her stuff. And of course, if you were to ask us, we are pro. We would want this type of schooling to continue because for her development, this is important. And to be honest, in this day, it is more of, I would say, productive screen time, because kids are do have, we need to give them screen time, so this is more of like productive screen time. So that's how our experience is.
Wonderful. So I can see that already there has been, a child being disconnected from school for so long, going to a new class, but even the school chipping in and saying that, Chalo, you need that consistency of care. So let us get that teacher over there. So I can see the thoughtfulness on both sides. The child is also so important, and the child has been able to adapt, which is your child is 2.5 years old. I think for us to even understand that this pandemic is going to go and blow up to this proportion, I think has been very difficult for us to digest this and understand it. But for a 2.5-year-old and for all the other children which are in this age up to 6, they've been able to adapt so beautifully to a different way of learning. The ability to sit still and to pay attention is greatly impacted by the age that they are in. So these are skills which are being learned.
Yes, and to be honest, too, like we know, everyone knows humans are adaptable. But seeing these young kids getting adapted to this situation in itself
they're
is
doing a better job than most of us are doing.
I think we have a lot to learn from the children. Huh?
And I would like to just point out what Mrs. Ritu Joshi does. I think she takes sessions for us parents. She tries to educate us, because we as a parent expect our child to sit, know everything, they should do everything possible. But that's not the case. She tells us every child is different. Every way the child learns is a different way. It's okay if the child moves. It's okay if the child doesn't. So I guess there is a sort of learning that we parents are also going through. And I guess the school is doing a very great job in even educating us at this stage and taking care of our kids as well.
Wonderful. You know what I'm really loving about this whole conversation with all the parents over here is I can just see the partnership between the school and the parents. So this has been such a beautiful conversation with all our 4 sets of parents out here. Each one having their own rapport with the school, and the school sort of taking that few steps forward. So right now, since our topic has been opportunities and obstacles, are you all seeing any obstacles? Because I'm only seeing the opportunities in this whole, conversation that we've had. So would anyone like to speak about obstacles that you all are facing, or things that you feel should not be done by a school or by yourselves, or what?
They should continue what they are doing.
Okay.
I guess there was a bad in between, and that made us upset, because Nishika started enjoying that. And once the ban got lifted, I guess we are more happy, and because we see Nishika enjoying. So I don't see there's any obstacle over here, any major obstacle, to be honest. Of course, the physical school is the best form, but for this
But we are
time,
possibly not looking for at least a few more months.
yes, true.
If I'm going to be honest, maybe the whole year.
Yeah,
Yes.
2020 definitely it doesn't look likely.
Yeah, it's not likely to go back right now. Not till a vaccine comes out. These children are at an at-risk age, so we don't want to get them back into a school where, contracting something would be harmful or detrimental to themselves and to others. Yes.
But I would
So,
suppose
please say.
with smaller kids, the obstacle might be social interaction.
True.
Because at the end of the day, the social contact is limited. And I feel that as parents, more than the academia, it's really the emotional intelligence of the child, which is extremely important. And I think that's the only obstacle that I see, or a
True.
thing to be more careful about, which is, how are they getting their.
But are you seeing that in the online engagements that are happening?
No, I think this is more of an overall comment that
Overall comments, correct.
the virtual learning cannot take care of. It's a learning platform. It is not a social interaction platform. They are not playing with their friends. They are just seeing their friends, or having the comfort that their friends are going through the same thing as them. But at the end of the day, they're not playing together. So I think that, and I guess you cannot do anything about it. And as parents, we have to try our best to compensate as much as possible.
I guess
Also, sorry. Please
just
say.
because of the Zoom, I guess the only thing we try to do is, maybe school has also suggested we have Zoom parties, and maybe this is some time where they can just see their friends. Of course, as she mentioned, that they cannot meet or play, but at least whatever enjoyment or whatever fun they have, we try to do as much as possible.
Correct. Also meeting with grandparents or relatives,
Yes,
or
true.
kind of online engagements. It gives them some social interaction that, I have cousins or I have family, and, those kind of things which can be done, but there is no substitute for the real thing at all. So absolutely not. So I think what I'm getting is a general consensus that the online engagements are working, and parents are really happy with it. The children are happy with it. Schools are going out of their way to do whatever they can. And I think from this whole pandemic, what has erupted is basically more bonding between the teachers and the schools and the parents. Basically, I'm just sort of seeing that people are realizing we have a vested interest in the child. Both of them have an interest in the child, and both are stakeholders of the child. So this is, a common resource for both. And I think that's a very good binding thing. Also, I don't know, for the schools that are hearing over here, there is a 3-step process that should be done. And I don't know what your schools are doing, but the 3-step process is there should be a teacher-child engagement, which should happen. There should also be activities that should be given by school for a parent-child engagement, because there is only so much that can be done on that Zoom lesson. But then parent also takes on responsibility of that learning, and there should be activities for individual engagement, because I think children also need to learn and have their own aha moments and discover life on their own, also discover things on their own. So I think the 3-step process should be followed. So for whichever schools are hearing and whichever teachers are hearing, this is something that should be given out. And parents, if your schools are not doing it, please ask for it, because they're trained and they know what to be giving you. You all are not trained for this. So wonderful. Anyone has any last notes to say, any last words to say?
I think we have spoken.
I guess
I think,
hang in there.
I think we are just waiting for this COVID situation to get over, because the only obstacle which we all have talked about is the lack of interaction, like physical interaction between children and between the child and the teacher. So I think all is we can say is that let's hope that the situation gets over, so that we can move on from so successful online classes to the physical classes. So yeah, that is all I have to say to wrap up.
Wonderful. I think everybody is waiting for that. We are all waiting. The teachers are all waiting to get back into their classes. and the parents are all waiting for the classes to start, and children are also waiting. So I guess that leaves us all on this note that we are happy that this virtual engagement is working, and parents are realizing the importance and the need for it, which I can see, and appreciating also that, the teachers and schools are doing a great job. I think the schools also are very appreciative of parents right now. Thank you for all of you to be here, supporting your child's learning and your child's development at this age, which is most important. So thank you, everybody, and thank you to all the viewers. Thank you for joining us on this platform on Coffee with Childhood.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It was wonderful having you all here.